Hi everyone, this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop. I've been a professional fortune teller since 1990 and I work with tarot cards, astrology, palmistry and numerology. And over the years I've always been fascinated by the types of ideas about tarot and the misconceptions about fortune telling that there are in our society. So I asked my tarot group on Facebook to tell me some of the misconceptions that they've heard. What are some misconceptions about tarot cards and tarot readers that you've heard? Our first one is from Julia, that tarot doesn't work. Yes, I have heard this one, that tarot doesn't work. Often people that say that to me are very analytical people, and they'll often say something like, if you did a tarot reading about something and you got an answer, but then you reshuffled the cards and asked the same question, again, wouldn't it be a different answer because the cards are different? And I often say to them, well, actually, the cards are often very similar, if not the same, and why would you be asking the same question twice if you've already been told the answer? So I say to them, usually when people sort of second guess the cards or ask again, often the cards will not answer because you've already been told. Another question was from Jen, devil worshipping and calling evil spirits when you do tarot. Yes, I remember this one used to come up a lot. People used to say this one to me more when I started out as a fortune teller and a card reader. I think more in the 90s. I haven't been called a devil worshipper for a few years now, but I remember a few times in different New Age stores that I did work in, people would walk past and call me the devil. And I haven't had that for a while, possibly because I'm now living more in the city, so people are less superstitious in the city or even afraid of the devil. I remember people would call me that more when I was out in the suburbs, working in different shops in the suburbs. Our next question is, tarot readers are unlucky in their love lives. Oh wait. Yes, I actually heard this one many years ago as well. Being a male fortune teller, I don't get this one thrown at me much. I think women get this one more. I remember my teacher, who's a woman, actually was told that by someone that had been in the industry as well. So it seems to be a common superstition as well. So that was a comment from Brandon. Now Michelle's got a similar one, that women who do tarot remain single and can't have romantic relationships ever. Yes, so that one seems to be doing the rounds out there as well. Interesting. Okay, another misconception we have is from Irene, that tarot cards are scary. Yes, most people say they're scared of tarot cards. Bits of cardboard and art with wise messages on them. Very scary indeed. Another misconception from Dale is that they all identify as female. Yes, I've come across this one a fair bit in my career. I'm a male. My name is unisex, so sometimes people think that I'm a woman. I actually had a woman one time at a New Age store that I worked at. She made a booking at the front desk and she assumed that I was a woman. And then when she came into the reading room and I was a man, I'm a man, she didn't want to have a reading with me. So that was the only time someone's actually outwardly said they don't want a reading with a male reader. I have had other people though that have cancelled their readings once they found out that I'm a man. Also, I have a fortune telling shop and sometimes I sit in the window and I hear people outside assuming that I'm a woman. Like they'll say things like, I wonder if she's open, or I wonder if she's any good. And the funny thing about that is I have a big picture of myself on the front window and they don't seem to connect the dots. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so let's look at some other misconceptions. That they have to have psychic abilities. Yes, a lot of people think that if you read tarot, then you must know everything. You must be a all-knowing, all-seeing person, and that you just know everything and you must be clairvoyant. I think the cards actually open up your clairvoyant energy. So it's kind of like a combination of the two. But I think the general public just thinks we sit there and predict people's names and date of births and phone numbers. I think that's the general feeling in the public when you say you're a card reader or a psychic. So that was from Missy. Now we have Monica. A very common misconception I find myself facing is that tarot readers are mind readers. What am I thinking? Oh, I've had this one a few times and it's really annoying. People come into my shop and they'll be looking around and then they'll say something like, I'd like a reading, but can you please tell me what I'm thinking first so I can see if you're the real deal? I had a guy yesterday, a gentleman who booked in a reading with me. He sat down, and before we started the reading, he said, can you sort of tell me something about myself before we get started so then I can tell that you're real? And I said, well, I'll be able to tell you everything once we get started. And I also have a shop, so if I'm not real, why would I have a fortune-telling shop? Because if I wasn't real and I had a fortune-telling shop, I'd be out of business. Okay, we have another question from Jalira. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I lived in a small town and I remember thinking that only Romani, Gypsy and Traveller folk did card readings. Yes, I think that's an image we get shown in the media and in movies and in sort of like, folk stories and folklore. Another one I've heard is that you have to be the seventh son of the seventh son in your family to be able to be a psychic. So I haven't actually met anyone that fits that description yet, but maybe there are people that are the seventh son of the seventh son. Okay, well, thanks everyone who contributed. That was fun. And if you have some misconceptions or superstitions about fortune telling or fortune tellers that you know about, feel free to write them in the text box below, or alternatively in the Tarot Facebook group. This is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop.